Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Gregg and thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. Today I want to share with you an art journal page or another art journal page in my Dina Wakley Media Blue Journal. And this page here, it's actually the inside front cover. So it's a really nice sturdy surface to work with. And I wanted to decorate it just to sort of start the journal, even though I've done some other pages, but I just wanted this inside cover to be decorated. So I've started here with some gloss spray and I'm using one of Dina's Stencils. I'm not quite sure of the name, but I'll find out the name and I'll put everything in the description box below. So I've sprayed quite a lot of the gloss sprays onto or into that stencil, and you can see that it's run quite a bit through that, but I'm not concerned about that because it is going to be very much in the background. It's really just about getting some color down onto that page. So I had lots of excess, so I just thought I'd just put that onto one of the denim pages because it'll just add a bit of shape and texture and stuff to that page to start with, and I can build upon that next time I get up to that page. So I've just got a little bit of yellow there for the background. Now I'm going to add one of the blue colors and just spritz a little bit of that through this stencil. I really like the organic nature of a lot of Dina's stencils that she has. And again, there's quite a lot of spray left over, so I'm just tapping that onto the page down on that bottom left. So then I have the positive and the negative of that shape onto my background. And I'm really liking how splattery it is and how sort of inconsistent I have the gloss spray, just because it gives it that sort of, the splashy sort of painterly look, and because I want the background to be not very not very I'm trying to think of the word. I really just want it to be really sort of, splashy. Let's just go with the word splashy, shall we? So I'm drying this off. Now I have used yellow and then I used blue, and the yellow was still wet before I put the blue on. So you'll see there that some of the yellow parts now are taking on that blue and becoming a little bit greeny. And that just means you've just got some extra color, the blending of colors. Now I'm using the olive color here now and just adding a little bit of extra like spray marks, and again another one of those really nicely organic shaped stencils, and I've still got some extra bits left over, so I'm just going back onto that denim page and just tapping that down, and that just gives me a little bit of extra bits for that denim page when I get up to it. So I'm just letting that dry a little bit because I want that the background to be dry before I stick stuff down. And I'm just flicking through Dina's collective collage book, and there's lots of if you've never seen this book, it's got lots of Dina's artwork in it, where you can cut it out and create your own artwork using her artwork. So it's really fun to do, even though I'd like to do a lot of stuff with my own artwork, but this is really a really nice way to art journal if you just want to get out of your own sort of, do something different with, and being inspired by Dina's artwork, because Dina's artwork is fabulous, as we all know, and she's got all these elements in this collage book. Now everything's double-sided, so you can see there, just as I flipped over, that on the back page of this figure, it's got it's just a background sort of color. So I've kept all the little off-cut bits from the outside of that figure shape, and I'll use those just as collage elements in the next page. So I'm just cutting in between the arm and the body here, just so that shows through and it wasn't just white, so it didn't look so stuck on, if you get what I mean. So you can see there where the stencil's showing through now with the arms. And this is I really like this page because, or this figure that Dina's created, because it's bold and it's big, which I really love, bold and big stuff for art journal pages, especially this. And but it's simple enough that it's not too overbearing. So it's a really good figure piece to use. So I'm just adding in some book pages. I've always got to have some sort of book page or, natural sort of old element in my journal pages. So I'm just adding some underneath there. I'm just going to use some gel medium just to adhere that. Now you can see I've got two little pieces. I could have just, torn one big long strip, but I just had two little pieces, but because the figure is going to be covering that little join there, it won't matter. So it just means you can use lots of little tiny pieces on your artwork, which, if you're like me, means you tend to hoard lots of little pieces. And I've got, a drawer full of tiny little book pages and pieces that I will eventually put into some art journals. So I'm just using that same gel medium just to stick down the figure. And like I was saying before, you can see how it's a double-sided book. So it means that you'll have artwork either side. And so I'm going to keep the other bits for other collage pieces. But this one here, I'm just using this nice big figure on the page. And it's just a really nice big focal point. So with this journal here, because I'm trying to use mostly Dina's products in this journal. So because it's the new blue one, I thought I might as well try and just play around with her products. It's nice to use someone else's products instead of my own all the time. Just it actually makes me not be too critical of my work as I go, and it just gets me out of the head of what I normally do. So it's really nice to be able to work with Dina's stuff, which I love her stuff as well. So what I want to do now is stamp onto this background, and because I'm using that front inside cover, obviously if I just let it go down, it's about an inch off the ground, so it's sort of on an angle and it's not very sturdy. So I did put those two Collage Collective books underneath, so now that the cover is flat, so it's easier for me to stamp onto. So I'm using one of Dina's stamps. I'm not quite sure what stamp set this came out of, because I've only got, this was like a stamp that came in a class kit, so I don't have the entire stamp set, but I will find out which one it is, and I will put it in the description box below so you can find it. And I've just stamped it a couple of times up in the top left corner. And I stamped it once and then stamped it a couple of extra times to create like a shadow. And then I've stamped it in the center of the figure. And then now I'm just going to stamp it down on that bottom right. And I'm just going to cover up that the denim on the right hand side, because I know that I'm going to let it go over or off the page, but I don't want it to go onto the denim. And instead of using the block, I'm just using my fingers. And you can see that I'm getting ink absolutely everywhere, but it doesn't matter. It adds to that little splashy look that I've got for the background. So, but for the center of the figure, I'm kind of leaving it there at the moment, but I think I'm going to change it up, or I know that I'm going to change it up. You just haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to change it up because I'm kind of, even though I love the repetitive nature of that the quote, I'm kind of thinking it's a bit same. So I am going to put another quote in there. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to add some shading around this figure so it sort of blends in a little bit more to that background, and it doesn't just look like a cutout stuck straight onto the page. So I'm using Scribble sticks, and if you've seen my other videos, you'll know how much I love them. And they're like a pure pigment stick. So you just need to, you can draw with them dry, but if you wet them and then you draw with them, they are a really nice kind of like a watercolor. So you can blend them out, and just using a wet paintbrush like I'm doing here, just blend that out, and it just really softens it. And that pigment will then just, spread out. Like you can see there how I'm just creating just a really nice shading around there. And I'm just going underneath those little stamped quotes as well, just to give them a little bit of shading underneath and something to sit onto, basically. So I'm just doing that. And the Scribble sticks, I love using them, and you can also write with them, and you can also stamp with them as well. So now what I'm doing is I have got a different quote that I think sort of, by having it on the craft cardstock there, I've stamped it onto craft, and then I've underlined it there with a bit of the white gloss spray actually. So I've just sprayed it and then just underlined that quote. So I'm just going to stick that on and I've just stamped it using archival jet black ink. So that's the ink that I use mostly in my work if I know that I don't want it to like blend out or bleed anywhere, because it's a permanent ink. So I'm just stamping, or I've stamped that out, and now what I want to do is add a few little hearts around. So I've got some canvas paper, just canvas, I guess, but it's from Dina's other journals. So the journals that she has with the burlap in it, you can see that I've got a little piece of burlap as well. So from other projects I've done where I've actually cut out some of that canvas, and I've used like made a window or something, then you have this leftover canvas piece. So I've sprayed it with some of the marine gloss spray, and then that's coloured the canvas up, and now I'm just trimming out some hearts, and then I'll stick those down. And you can just stick that down with some gel medium. And again, I'm just sitting around just figuring out where I'm going to place everything. But yeah, you can stick down with gel medium. This time I'm using Glossy Accents because I want it to stick really well and know that it will be stuck down. I mean, gel medium is really good for paper, like thinner paper, because this is a thicker craft cardstock. I'm just using this Glossy Accents, and I'm just going to stick that right over that other stamped sentiment. Just press down there just so it's nicely firmly stuck down, and then I will go ahead and stick down those hearts as well. Okay, so now that I've got all of my hearts firmly stuck down, what I want to do now is just outline a bit more of that, or the figure just a little bit more, and I'm going to use a Stabilo All pencil, and I'm just going to like draw around it in a real sort of free and easy way, just to give it more of a scribbly look, which kind of goes with what Dina had started with. You know, when she drew that figure, you could sort of see a few little scribble lines here within that figure. So I'm just extending that out using that Stabilo All, and of course that pencil is also water reactive, so I'm just using a wet paintbrush to just blend a little bit of it out. But I don't want to blend all of it out, because I want to keep that scribbly look. So I'm only gently going around there with that paintbrush. And what I want to do now is just add my own journaling, just to make it, more of a personal page here. So I'm just adding just some thoughts of what I feel like for writing now. I actually can't remember what I wrote now, but it's just the way that I do my journaling is just generally write out what I'm thinking, and at the time, sometimes it's readable, sometimes it's not. This particular time it's not very readable. I mean, you could probably try and read some of that, but I probably wouldn't bother. It's more of a design feature, and I'm just sitting there trying to write that out. But I'm noticing that some of the gloss sprays is still a tiny little bit wet, so some of that pen isn't working particularly well, but I'll just go over that when it is dry, just so then it does have that correct journaling on it. And I'm just now putting just drawing around those hearts, just to give them just a nice little edged border, just like I did with the figure, just a little scribbly edge just to finish off the page. So as you can see, it's just a really nice fun way to create some easy art journal pages, just using some gloss sprays and some Collage collectives, some stencils and some stamps. And you can use like with the Collage collective, which is Dina's artwork, but then you can use that to make your own artwork into the journal. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. If you'd like to see more of my work, you can visit me at rachelgregg.com. Thanks so much for watching.